Coming up on this edition of ATV Fastcast.
The legislature meets for 45 days.
We'll show you why Governor Cox came to the Cache Valley Event Center on Tuesday.
We couldn't have asked for better conversations tonight.
We'll tell you what made those conversations so great at a Women's Month event on campus.
You've heard of it raining cats and dogs, but what about eggs and chocolate? In weather, I'll show you what we might find in the sky this Easter weekend.
The Aggies earned their first NCAA tournament win in 23 years. In sports, I'll show you the plays that got them the historic win.
All that and more, this is ATV Fastcast.
From the campus of Utah State University in Logan, Utah, the Department of Journalism and Communication presents the award-winning newscast, ATV News.
You're going to see water get to the lake this year. Part of the conservation efforts, what's amazing about what Utahns did in a good year last year by continuing to conserve.
Governor Spencer Cox showed his support for long-term solutions to help Great Salt Lake and reservoirs in Utah. Welcome to this edition of ATV News. I'm Katie White. Governor Cox made an appearance at USU's annual Spring Runoff Conference at the Cache Valley Event Center this week. The governor held a ceremonial signing of 4 water bills that address water conservation issues.
What happens now is this actually allows us to get more of that water to the Great Salt Lake and to other reservoirs that need it as well.
The bills give mineral companies and farmers more flexibility in the way they use water to better balance the levels of Great Salt Lake. Students observed Women's History Month with an evening of conversation, cookies, and mocktails. I went to the event to show you what people were talking about. Preparing for discussion, people wrote on handouts as music and small talk filled the room at Celebrate Her, an event hosted by the Business Council.
There wasn't a whole lot of Women's History Month events that we saw when we were planning, and so my committee thought it would be really fun to do something that celebrates and recognizes women, but like recognizing our own students' accomplishments.
The group conversation was guided by 10 questions printed out for each person to answer. Questions such as, what advice would you give your past self?
I think the advice that I would give my past self is to just not be afraid to try literally anything. I feel like I've just really branched out, and I'm really proud of the person that I am now.
A biochemistry student says she's most inspired by her mom, who she says did the scary things in life by herself.
She's from Pittsburgh, flew to Arizona to go to ASU all by herself, studying education. She's a teacher, she's a single mother, she's great, and I've just learned so much from her. And all of her experiences being alone.
She has the most beautiful hair ever.
One person says her favorite part of the discussion was about the ways women uplift and inspire others.
I learned that being too much is okay. You are enough, you are valued.
A finance student says meeting women in her industry helped her stay focused on her goals.
They've done it, they understand what I've been going through, and they still understand that there's a way for women to excel in this industry, so that's been really valuable to me.
Throughout the evening, people got to celebrate each other and continue conversations about the legacy of women past and present.
I think it's very important that we make sure to recognize these kind of maybe misconceptions about women or what women are meant to be and kind of make that our own story.
Peacock says she thinks it's important for people to know how to celebrate each other. And coming up, that's Old Main in the distance that you can barely see through that heavy snowfall. Joe Cooney with ATV Weather will join us after the break. The current temperature is 36 degrees. And after weather,
picked up by Uday. Jackson 3, bullseye!
That shot by Javon Jackson helped the Aggies earn their first NCAA tournament win since 2001. In sports, Ryan Lawrenson joins us in studio to recap their win against TCU.
Coming to college with high male expectations? Don't be fooled.
No. Oh.
Are your male expectations not meeting your reality? Let your male expectations become your reality at USU Dining Services.
Hello. Hello, parents and prospective freshmen of Utah State. You seem tense. Please take a load off. Here at Utah State, we know the value of balance in student life. Balance. Balance. Balance! Utah State student housing, a balanced way of life.
Welcome to ATV Weather. I'm Joe Cooney. Starting off with our national radar, we can see that we have a rather dense system of clouds and also precipitation that comes along with them all the way up and down the East Coast. Especially in those southern, more coastal Carolina regions, we're starting to even see some flood warnings from that heavy rain. Now, that system of precipitation is covering a very large amount of the East Coast, the very populous areas of the country, and it's bringing a lot of precipitation to those areas. Now, we can also see a little bit of activity over the Midwest, but that's nowhere close to what we have over Utah and the rest of the West, including the West Coast. Now, we can see as these storms progress across the country that we're getting a lot of those cloud systems that came from the central California area a few days ago. Now, something interesting is that we can see that there's still activity over those central California areas, which might still come over here, which we could maybe see over the weekend. We'll get back to that in the 7-day weather. But taking a closer look over Utah, we can see that pretty much the entire northwestern corner of the state is covered in clouds currently. Most of that is bringing precipitation to the Great Salt Lake here, as well as up to the mountains in basically the whole Salt Lake City corridor, up here in Logan to about down here in Provo. Now, that rain and snow is really nice for our water pack, and we can even see that we've been getting a lot of that snow earlier in the week as well. On Tuesday, for instance, we saw a lot of that snow coming down in here in Logan, which was kind of following an on-again, off-again pattern of about on for an hour, off for an hour, which is somewhat common for our snowstorms here in Utah that we see up here in Logan. Now, today, we were also getting some snow, but it was more consistently coming down, which is interesting, and it still provides plentiful snowfall for us here in the valley and our water pack up in the mountains. Now, coming into our 7-day forecast, we can see that we're, of course, having a lot of precipitation today, mainly rain, some of that snow. We're going to be seeing a lot more rain than snow this week, but snow is a little bit more likely in the afternoons as the air tends to cool down and as that water tends to crystallize into ice. Now, we can see that our high temperatures are in the 40s this week, with a lot of precipitation having a high chance to occur over the Easter weekend. Again, mainly that's rain, so too much of that snow won't stick around very much, but that rain is still good to know about because it can still provide that snow up in the mountains, and it can still cause problems for us, especially in driving down here in the valleys. We might not have to salt anything because high temperatures are looking to be up in the mid to high 40s, and though low temperatures are looking to be above about 32 degrees, which will help to prevent some of that snow. Coming into next week, we might see some rain and some snow on Monday, but on Tuesday, we're looking at those temperatures starting to go up into the low to mid to even high 50s next week, and we're going to be seeing a little bit more sun, especially on Tuesday, but also some on Wednesday with a slight chance of precipitation on Wednesday. We're looking at that more in the evenings, but we're looking at sun all day Tuesday. Have a happy Easter, Aggies, and it's back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Joe. An event last week raised money for kids fighting cancer. Students played musical chairs to raise money for primary children's hospitals. One student says she has a personal connection to the cause.
The reason that I want to do it is because Primary Children's did a lot for my family, for my younger brother, and this feels like an opportunity for me to give back to other families.
People joined in a variety of activities at Aggiethon as a way to give back. The USU Miracle Club brought back Aggiethon.
The reason that I want to
last
do
year
it
off.
is because Primary Children's did a lot for my
To learn
family,
more,
for my
check
younger
out our
brother,
Facebook page.
and this feels like an opportunity for me to give back to other families.
Sorry about those technical difficulties.
And back out to Washington. Picked up by Uday. Jackson 3, bullseye.
That shot was just one. The Aggies needed to lift them to a first-round victory over the TCU Horned Frogs in the NCAA tournament. Welcome to ATV Sports. I'm Ryan Lawrenson. Let's head back to Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis to recap the Aggies' first March Madness win in 23 years. We'll start things off with a look at the Horned Frogs on offense. How about this quick jumper by Chuck O'Bannon Jr., good for just 2 of his 4 total points in this game. Quickly moving down to the other side, watch Mason Falslev. He reined in that pass, hesitates here, then lays it in for a quick couple of points. Now a half-court drive from Great Osabor. His initial shot getting blocked here before he's able to bank it up and in off the glass. Now at the free throw line, TCU's Avery Anderson misses this attempt after making the first, but Xavier Court takes the offensive board and puts it away for 2. Nice moves there by the Horned Frogs senior. And now how about this steal from O'Bannon by Falslev, trying to make a break for it, but the TCU defense got there just a bit too quick for him. He dumps it off to Isaac Johnson, who lays it in for a quick pair. Let's take another quick look at that one. Great defense by Falslev here to create some even better offense for the Aggies. He makes the quick, nice and quick pass off to Johnson, and the Aggies went into the locker room with a 6-point lead over the Horned Frogs. Moving into the second half, take a look here at Darius Brown trying to speed things up. Thinks better of it though before passing it off to Great Osabor, who lays it in home. Brown was good for a game-high 10 of the Aggies' 22 assists. Brown leading things off once again, this time finding Johnson before the redshirt sophomore makes this mid-range jumper. The second half really was the Isaac Johnson show as we take another look at this great move. Way to go there, Isaac. Now, a passing clinic brought to you by the Utah State Aggies. We'll start with Ian Martinez, dumping it off to Osabor quickly. Looking for options before giving it to Brown, who finds Johnson again, looking for the alley-oop, but he opts for the easy layup. Now Brown with a long pass here to Ian Martinez in the corner for a banger of a 3-point jumper. Aggie head coach Danny Sprinkle says the effort from this game is all due to how prepared the team was.
We knew what we were in for, when we drew that seed, and I really think playing San Diego State last Friday prepared us for this win.
And while Coach Sprinkle was proud of the effort from the team, sophomore center Isaac Johnson gave some love to the coaching staff.
This coaching staff has done a really good job of being confident in all of us. We all have some special abilities and special talents on this team, and that's been showcased throughout the year.
Johnson had a career-high 19-point game where he was perfect from the charity stripe, adding to a final score of 88-72, leading the team to their first appearance in the round of 32 since 2001. Unfortunately, the Aggie season came to a screeching halt as they fell to Purdue Sunday with a final score of 106 for the Boilermakers to just 67 for the Aggies. But that didn't stop the headlines for the program. The University of Washington announced Monday morning that they have hired Coach Danny Sprinkle to take the helm after just 1 season here in Logan. Sprinkle now has a 109-50 record all-time after his historic 28-7 season here at Utah State. USU Gymnastics were the hosts of the inaugural Mountain West Gymnastics Championship on Friday. That's right, the first ever Mountain West Gymnastics Championship was held in Logan at the Spectrum, and spirits were high for the Aggies as they got chalked up and ready for their night. The first rotation was on beam this time for the Aggies, and take a look here at senior Brianna Brooks as she makes this great dismount. She and fellow senior Lexi Aragon both scored a 9.875 with their beam routines. Up next is junior Amari Evans on floor for the second rotation. She and freshman Nyla Morabito also scored a pair of 9.875s for their floor work. Nice moves there by Amari. The third rotation brought the Aggies to the vault. Watch here as senior Angel Stewart celebrates this great landing here, earning herself a 9.725. And finally, it was Brooks again on bars for the final rotation. She was the final gymnast to compete for Utah State, and she won the event with a 9.9 even. The Aggies finished second overall in the meet with a score of 196.5, just 5/100ths of a point behind Boise State. San Jose State finished third with a score of 196.4, and Air Force came in last with 195.45. And Brooks' win on bars earned her an invitation to compete at the NCAA Regional Championships in Berkeley, California on April 5th. For more updates on the Aggies spring sports, check out our Facebook page. And now that you're all caught up on sports, I'll send it back over to Katie at the desk.
Thanks, Brian. And thank you for watching this edition of ATV Fastcast. You can find this and other editions of on our Facebook page. Have a great week, Cache Valley.